1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Sumaira Kamal. The headlines first. Prime Minister has directed to complete the process of electoral reforms and electronic voting system for overseas Pakistanis. Foreign Minister is in Turkey to participate in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum and to highlight Pakistan's vision for regional cooperation, economic development and connectivity. Air Chief says our armed forces remain poised to defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation. Pakistan has warned India to refrain from any further steps regarding Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as it could imperil the regional peace and security. All-Party Hurriyat Conference has called upon United Nations to prevent the genocide, custodial killings and targeting of civilian population by Indian forces in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. European Union's Special Envoy for Afghanistan has lauded Pakistan's proactive role for regional peace and stability. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan has directed to complete the process of electoral reforms and electronic voting system for overseas Pakistanis at the earliest. Presiding over a meeting on the use of electronic voting machines in Islamabad today, he said overseas Pakistanis are an asset of the country and must be involved in the election process. Imran Khan said the only option to ensure transparency in the election process is the use of electronic voting machines. The Prime Minister was given a detailed briefing on the progress made so far in the use of electronic voting machines and legislation for electoral reforms. Imran Khan reiterated his commitment to ensure transparency in the use of electronic voting machines in the electoral process after meeting all constitutional requirements. He said the government is committed to ensuring transparency in the electoral process of the country. Chairing a meeting on the progress of Ravi Urban City and Central Business District project in Islamabad today, Imran Khan asked the authorities concerned to devise a comprehensive strategy regarding treatment and disposal of wastewater using modern technology. He emphasized the need to use treated water for reuse to meet the growing shortage of the water. The Prime Minister said use of modern technology is inevitable to cope with the water shortage in urban areas for the agricultural purposes. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi is in Turkey to participate in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum at the invitation of his Turkish counterpart, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu. He will also participate in a panel discussion on regional cooperation in Asia along with other foreign ministers from the region and highlight Pakistan's vision for regional cooperation, economic development and connectivity. On the sidelines of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, the Foreign Minister will hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts and key regional and international partners. Antalya Diplomacy Forum will feature high-level participation of political leaders, diplomats, thinkers and academia for discussion on important thematic and international issues. The government and the opposition have decided to ensure smooth conduct of ongoing budget session in Parliament. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Chaudhry Fawad Hussain along with the Minister for Defence Pervez Khattak told media persons in Islamabad today that the government and opposition have reached on an agreement and from now onward the parliamentary proceeding will be carried out as per routine. Giving details of the meeting, the Information Minister said the meeting also proposed to form a parliamentary committee comprising members from both Treasury and opposition benches that would be responsible for the conduct of their respective members in the House. Till formation of the committee, he informed that the leadership of parliamentary parties would ensure practicing parliamentary norms by their respective members in the National Assembly. Leader of the opposition in National Assembly, Shehbaz Sharif, continuing his speech on the budget 2021-2022, has said there will be further increase in poverty and inflation as a result of this budget. He said 383 billion rupees of new taxes have been proposed in the budget, which would add to the woes of the common man. The leader of the opposition said responsibility tests with the government to reach out the opposition and create consensus on important matters for the sake of the country. Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmed Babar Sidhu says our armed forces remain poised to defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation. He was addressing the course members and faculty of 50th Pakistan Navy Staff Course at Pakistan Navy War College in Lahore today. He appreciated the quality academic stimulus and level of training imparted at the college. Chief of the Air Staff also commended Pakistan Navy's valuable services to safeguard the maritime frontiers of the country. Speaking on prevailing security challenges and technological advancements, the Air Chief expressed his confidence in the combat potential of Pakistan Armed Forces. This is Radio Pakistan. Pakistan has warned India to refrain from any further steps regarding Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as it could imperil the regional peace and security. At the weekly news briefing in Islamabad today, Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry said India must revisit its unlawful and destabilizing actions in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and ensure full compliance with the UN Security Council resolutions. He said Pakistan will continue to resolutely oppose Indian attempts to change the demographic structure and status of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as a disputed territory. The spokesperson called upon the international community, including the United Nations, international human rights and humanitarian organizations, global media, and world parliaments to take immediate cognizance of the situation. Responding to a question, the spokesperson categorically dispelled the impression that any legislation has been made to let Indian spy commander Kulbhushan Yadav go. He said Pakistan abides by all its international obligations and this legislation applies to the International Court of Justice judgment in the case of Commander Kulbhushan Yadav. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has called upon the United Nations to prevent the genocide, custodial killings and targeting of civilian population in the garb of incessant cordon and search operations carried out by the Indian forces in the territory. In a statement, All Parties Hurriyat Conference Assistant General Secretary Khwaja Firdaus urged the world body to resolve the long-pending Kashmir dispute in accordance with the UN Security Council resolutions and Kashmiris' aspirations. He said India, as an absolute legal occupier of Jammu and Kashmir, has no right to suppress the ongoing resistance movement, fully supported by the people of their UN-acknowledged right to self-determination. The Committee to Protect Journalists Asia program has said that authorities in India's Uttar Pradesh state must withdraw their complaint immediately and stop harassing journalists and news outlets. In a statement, coordinator in Washington, D.C. Stephen Butler said Indian police must immediately drop their criminal investigation into well-known journalists, some of whom are known for critical coverage of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. European Union's Special Envoy for Afghanistan, Thomas Nicholson, has lauded Pakistan's proactive role for regional peace and stability, particularly for Afghanistan. In a statement issued by EU-Pakistan, he said the EU and Pakistan reiterate their strong support for an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned peace process involving all stakeholders to achieve long-lasting peace in the region. He said peace in Afghanistan is linked to socio-economic development and it would also strengthen regional integration and connectivity. In Pakistan Super League at Abu Dhabi against Peshawar Zalmi, batting first, Islamabad United were 6 for no loss in 1 over a short while ago. Earlier, Peshawar Zalmi won the toss and opted to field. The second match will be played between Lahore Qalandars and Karachi Kings at 2300 hours tonight. And finally, the weather. Hot and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, wind, thunderstorm is expected in Sindh, northeast Balochistan and southern Punjab. Isolated heavy falls and hailstorm are also likely during the period. Rain, wind, thunderstorm is also expected in few districts of Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/radio Pakistan.